I mean, is it an act? Does she really think that she's in touch with Diana beyond the grave? It's absolutely astonishing. In absolute seriousness, he really does believe that Meghan is talking to Diana, his mother.
Tom Bauer has made fresh claims about Meghan Markle's long-running fascination with Princess Diana. And if his account is accurate, the similarities go way deeper than a few outfits. Critics have been digging through old photos and moments from Meghan's life, arguing that some of the parallels with Diana are simply too striking to ignore. Meghan recently celebrated her birthday, and once again, comparisons with Diana started popping up online. Take the swimming photos, for example. Side by side, some viewers believe Meghan's pose and overall look strongly resemble Diana's. On its own, that could easily be a coincidence, but critics say it fits into a much bigger pattern.
Wherever she is, whether it's at Costner or in Colombia or in Nigeria or wherever, she's always, her publicist will reveal that she's wearing one of Diana's jewels.
Long before Meghan met Harry or officially entered royal circles, reports claim she already had a strong interest in Princess Diana. That clashes with the impression Meghan later gave that she knew relatively little about the royal family. According to biographical accounts, she had read about Diana and followed magazine coverage of her while growing up. Some reports have even claimed that Meghan kept images of Diana in her room during her younger years. Whether every detail of those stories is accurate is still debated, but the bigger point critics make is clear. Diana may have been on Meghan's radar long before Harry entered the picture. Then there is Rwanda. Diana famously became associated with the campaign against landmines after walking through an active minefield in Angola in 1997.
In Meghan's mind, she is Diana.
Yes.
I mean, Diana Spencer is Meghan Spencer. And that was all part of her imagination that somehow she could inherit the glow of her dead mother-in-law,
creating images that were seen around the world. Years later, in 2016, Meghan traveled to Rwanda as part of humanitarian work. That trip has since faced scrutiny from critics, particularly over reports that Meghan traveled with clothing options and worked with a photographer while there. Critics have used those details to question whether publicity played too large a role in the visit. However, that interpretation remains disputed, and taking photographs during humanitarian campaigns is also commonly used to bring attention to a cause. Still, for people already looking for Diana parallels, the Rwanda trip became another major talking point. The swimming photo might be dismissed as chance, but critics argue that Meghan's humanitarian imagery made the comparison harder to brush aside. And then comes one of the more eyebrow-raising claims, the Perfume story. Reports have circulated that Meghan wore a fragrance associated with Diana around the period when she and Harry began dating.
He had gone over there on a charity trip to help bring or build clean water resources for this area. I believe it was in Rwanda. And so this picture is out of place because she was meant to be working while there to make this happen. And she brought along extra suitcases of wardrobe and her own personal photographer.
Some commentators have gone further, suggesting Meghan deliberately wanted to create an emotional connection between herself and Harry's memories of his mother. That is a serious claim, though, and Meghan's private intentions cannot be established simply from what perfume she may have worn. Still, the story has become part of the wider narrative pushed by critics who believe her interest in Diana influenced how she presented herself around Harry. But the comparisons didn't end with fragrance. Observers have also pointed toward Meghan's body language, including a downward glance, softer facial expressions, and moments where she covered her mouth while laughing. Critics say these gestures resemble Diana's famously shy public mannerisms. Meghan is generally known as confident, expressive, and comfortable speaking publicly, which is exactly why some observers found those quieter gestures interesting.
According to reports, and from them themselves, Meghan was wearing Princess Diana's favorite perfume for her dates with Harry in the beginning. So Meghan already, upon meeting Harry, has planted images and scents to remind him of his mother, even in a subconscious way, like kind of sneakily, which is weird.
But body language is highly subjective, and similar expressions alone don't prove someone is deliberately copying another person. Then came the fashion, and this is where the comparisons really exploded. Meghan has repeatedly worn outfits that royal watchers have compared with Diana's wardrobe, from formal gowns to coats, dresses, color combinations, and accessories. One gala appearance in particular sparked side-by-side comparisons because Meghan's styling appeared remarkably similar to a look previously worn by Diana. Of course, fashion trends repeat, and royal wardrobes often follow similar formal traditions. But critics argue that when the clothing, poses, humanitarian imagery, and other reported details are viewed together, the Diana comparisons become difficult to overlook.
This is the stuff that psychologists train for. And it is a way, I think, for Meghan to get people to talk about her. It is a way for Meghan, I believe, to manipulate Harry in a really twisted sort of way. But I also think there has got to be something mentally not right there. I believe this is completely pathological.
Then came the poses. Critics started pointing out photographs where Meghan appeared to pose in ways that looked similar to Diana, sometimes even in comparable settings. And then came those recent birthday images of Meghan jumping into a swimming pool, another moment that immediately had people pulling up old pictures of Diana doing something similar. One similarity could easily be coincidence, but critics argue that when the parallels keep stacking up, people are naturally going to start asking questions. Then there was the 2018 Australian tour, shortly after Harry and Meghan's wedding. At the time, the tour was widely viewed as a major success. Huge crowds came out to see the newlyweds, and Harry and Meghan were still working royals, enjoying enormous international attention. According to Tom Bower's account, Harry and Meghan reportedly connected that success with what they saw as Diana's continuing influence. The idea was that Diana was somehow watching over them and that her legacy was still opening hearts and doors. But critics argue that Diana's public influence was built over many years through her own work, relationships, struggles, and extraordinary connection with the public.
Thought that she was attempting to cosplay as her late mother-in-law yet again. She's been hit with with accusations like this before, but here's the image in question. Now, it is weird seeing them side by side. It is weird seeing them side by side because I would argue, oh no, that's an accident. But then when I actually see the one piece, the leg formation, the arms out, it's like she planned for it.
That kind of legacy simply cannot be copied overnight. The Diana comparison became even more serious when Harry began publicly discussing his fear of history repeating itself. Critics have accused Meghan of encouraging Harry to see her experiences through the lens of his mother's life. But calling that brainwashing goes beyond what can actually be proven. What we do know is that Harry himself has repeatedly drawn parallels between the treatment of Meghan and what happened to Diana. In Harry's mind, those fears appear deeply connected. He has openly spoken about losing his mother and worrying about his own family, making Diana a recurring presence in his interviews, documentaries, and public statements. And then came Harry's memoir, Spare. Diana appears throughout the book, showing just how strongly her memory continues to shape Harry's life and decisions. Harry even described consulting a woman who he believed could communicate with his late mother. According to his own account, the experience made him feel that Diana's presence was still around him.
I do think that the Australian trip turned their head in a crazy way, although she behaved appallingly during the trip. Yeah. But in Harry's view, this was his mother all over again. What Meghan never really understood, probably not even now, is that when she was cheered as a working royal, it wasn't because she was Meghan Markle, it was because she represented British royalty and all the values of the Queen and all the tradition and 1,000 years of history. So people were cheering not just the person, but also the institution.
Whatever people personally think about spiritual experiences like that, it showed just how emotionally powerful Diana's memory remains for Harry. Then another claim entered the conversation. Meghan has openly discussed her interest in yoga and meditation. That part is well established. But rumors attributed to unnamed sources have claimed that Meghan once told Harry she felt some kind of spiritual connection with Diana during a session. There is no solid public evidence confirming that story, so it needs to be treated as an allegation rather than fact. Still, the rumors didn't stop there. Another widely discussed story involves Meghan visiting Diana's resting place at Althorpe. Harry wrote in Spare that Meghan had a private moment at Diana's grave, and that he later found her with her palms against the stone, asking Diana for clarity and guidance. That detail immediately grabbed attention because it added another striking layer to the long-running Diana comparisons.
This week I heard this extraordinary story, which I'm sure is true because it came from Harry's lips. That Harry told a friend of his when he was in London recently that Meghan is in touch with Diana, and that Diana is assuring...
Princess Diana,
the mother. And that Meghan is assuring Harry that his mother is absolutely sure that what they're doing is right. And she supports them absolutely in everything they're doing.
To supporters, It could simply represent a deeply personal moment of respect toward Harry's late mother. To critics, however, it became yet another example in a pattern they already believed was getting seriously intense. Then came Harry and Meghan's trip to Nigeria in 2024. Because Diana had also visited Nigeria decades earlier, some commentators once again connected Meghan's journey with Diana's legacy. But claiming that Meghan traveled there specifically because Diana had previously visited would be speculation. The Sussexes' trip included activities connected with the Invictus Games and charitable causes. Even so, the Diana comparisons continue following Meghan almost everywhere. Clothing, poses, humanitarian appearances, reported spiritual moments, and Harry's own references to his mother have all become pieces of a much larger public debate. So what do you think? Is Meghan genuinely inspired by Princess Diana? Are critics reading too much into these similarities? Or is there something deeper going on here? Drop your comments down below and tell us what you think. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to see this story. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.